This is Congressman Jamie Raskin. He is in the United States House of Representatives representing Maryland 8th District, and which is outside of D.C., the suburbs of D.C. And he is also ranking member for the House of Representatives Committee on the Judiciary. And on March 24th, 2026, he sent a letter to Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, that has not gotten the attention that it deserves. I'm going to read it to you. Attorney General Bondi, we have long known that, as he left office in 2021, President Donald Trump stole classified documents, hoarded them in the bathrooms and ballrooms of his Mar-a-Lago clubhouse, defied subpoenas, and obstructed law enforcement. One lingering question has been, why? Why would Donald Trump go to such extraordinary lengths to steal classified documents, hoard them, and then refuse to return them? Together with Donald Trump, your Department of Justice has been fighting tooth and nail to gag special counsel Jack Smith and bury his report in order to cover up the answer to this key question. For the past year, DOJ has been working with Republicans of the House Judiciary Committee to wage a campaign of retribution against career prosecutors and federal agents who did their duty, followed the facts and the law, and investigated Donald Trump for both conspiring to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election and for hiding and lying about the classified documents he stole. As part of this effort, DOJ earlier this month produced yet another set of cherry-picked documents relating to Jack Smith's Arctic frost and plasmic echo investigations. Apparently blinded by the frenzied search to find any scrap of evidence that could be twisted and distorted to level an attack against special counsel Jack Smith, despite constantly coming up in empty-handed, you have, quite amazingly, missed the fact that some of the documents you provided include damning evidence about your boss's conduct and may well violate the gag order your DOJ and Donald Trump demanded from Judge Aileen Cannon. These new disclosures suggest that Donald Trump stole documents so sensitive that only 6 people in the entire U.S. government had access to them, that the documents President Trump stole pertain to his business interest, and that Suzie Wiles, then the CEO of Trump's super PAC, witnessed President Trump showing off a classified map to passengers on his private plane. This glimpse into the trove of evidence behind the cover-up reveals a president of the United States who may have sold out our national security to enrich himself. When Special Counsel Smith and his deputies appeared before Congress, they could not answer this committee's questions about the classified documents case under threat of potential federal prosecution because of the gag order Judge Cannon issued at the request of Donald Trump. Judge Cannon's protective order broadly prevents the disclosure to the public of any discovery materials or any information derived therefrom. Mr. Smith's authorization letter from the DOJ expressly prohibited him from discussing Volume 2 of the special counsel's report and any information or conclusions in the Volume 2 or drafts thereof. And then you can look over the footnotes at the bottom. DOJ clearly does not view itself as bound by these same restrictions. On the afternoon of Friday, March 13th, DOJ produced several documents involving the classified documents case to the House Committee on the Judiciary, including non-public information apparently barred from release by Judge Cannon's order. What is more, a significant portion of the pages in one production are marked contains 6E and sealed material that would be a crime for DOJ prosecutors to disclose to third parties, including to Congress. This document not only seemingly actually contains grand jury material, it obliterates the government's own argument before Judge Cannon that, quote, a careful Rule 6E review is no longer feasible given the departures of Special Counsel Smith and his team from the Department of Justice, end quote. In short, the position of DOJ appears to be that it can violate Judge Cannon's order and grand jury secrecy whenever it sees an opportunity to smear Jack Smith. Most damning is what these documents, cherry-picked by your own DOJ for disclosure, show about President Trump's conduct. They include a January 13, 2023 memorandum in which prosecutors wrote that the Federal Bureau of Investigation has determined that the classified documents Trump retained from the White House were commingled with documents after Trump left office. FBI has also found that certain classified documents President Trump improperly retained, quote, would be pertinent to certain business interests, end quote. DOJ prosecutors further asserted that these, quote, classified documents pertinent to his business interests established a motive for retaining them. We must have those documents. The memorandum further specifies that the disclosure of these documents represented, quote, an aggravated potential harm to national security, end quote. The prosecutors also wrote that these were, quote, highly sensitive documents, the type of documents that only presidents and officials with the most sensitive authority have. One, quote, particularly sensitive document was accessible by only 6 people, including the president. The memorandum also details the extent to which the president and his staff acted recklessly with our nation's most sensitive secrets. A then 23-year-old Trump aide and current director of Oval Office operations, Chamberlain Harris, quote, scanned the documents of one box onto her laptop and retained it for nearly 2 years. Ms. Harris also, quote, uploaded the scan to a cloud. A Trump lawyer had to retrieve this scan from Ms. Harris's laptop and then fly on a commercial airline with the thumb drive containing the classified documents. DOJ redacted the subsequent text in the memorandum, so we were unable to determine the full extent of this incident or whether those documents were compromised. Similarly, in June 2022, President Trump apparently took classified documents on a flight to his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. Prosecutors determined that they, quote, identified a classified map that we believe Trump may have shown to individuals on board, end quote, that airplane, and that their investigation, quote, indicates that Suzie Wiles, the CEO of Trump's super PAC, was aboard that flight and witnessed this event, end quote. The memorandum does not specify who else might have seen this document. DOJ produced a map of the aircraft enclosed with this letter, but with all names of passengers redacted. Without access to Volume 2 of the special counsel's final report or the investigative files, we do not know what that classified map contained, nor can we determine from this memo the relationship between the classified documents President Trump stole and their pertinence to his, quote, business interests. We do know that around the time of this flight to Bedminster, President Trump was entering into partnerships with Saudi-backed Live Golf and state-linked real estate from Dar Al Arkan. A month after this flight, in July 2022, President Trump played golf at Bedminster with Yasir al-Rumayyan, head of the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Saudi Arabia, the same official who plied the Trump family with tens of millions of dollars as the family began to run out of money between terms. During this trip, President Trump defended his business partners from criticism levied by the families of 9/11 victims protesting the Saudi government's role in the attack, saying inaccurately, quote, nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11, unfortunately, end quote. We also know that there are reports that Donald Trump, at one point while on the phone with his ghostwriter, quote, made a reference to having classified records relating to bombing of Iran, end quote. He also reportedly boasted that it was only the hawks who wanted to attack Iran, not him, and that he had Pentagon war plans, quote, done by the military and given to me about such a potential attack. If this map is related to our military posture in the Middle East, and it was in fact shown to any foreign official, Saudi or otherwise, that would amount to an unforgivable betrayal of our men and women in uniform who are currently valiantly fighting in President Trump's disastrous war against Iran. It is now clear that DOJ is in possession of evidence that President Trump has already endangered national security to further the interest of Trump family businesses. It is time for you to stop the cover-up and allow the American people to know what secrets he betrayed and how he may have cashed in on them. Our country is at war, American lives are at stake, and the answer to these questions has never been more pressing. Accordingly, please provide detailed answers to the following questions by 5 p.m. on March 31st, 2026, all of which are required to understand the full context of the documents your DOJ itself produced. Should any of the answers to these questions require the exposure of classified information or information which could harm the national security of the United States and its service members and staff stand by ready to receive that information in a sensitive, compartmented information facility known as a SCIF. Question number 1. Who else was on the plane with President Trump from Florida to Bedminster, New Jersey on June 3rd, 2022? Question 2. Who on that plane did President Trump show the classified map to? Did the special counsel's office find any evidence that President Trump showed the map to anyone else? Number 3. What did the classified map detail? Number 4. Which documents did President Trump improperly retain that were pertinent to his business interests and which specific business interests? Number 5. Which members of President Trump's family engaged in his business ventures saw or were made aware of the content of these classified documents? Please specifically reference Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump, and Barron Trump in your answer. Number 6. Which document did President Trump steal that was so sensitive that only 6 people in the entire federal government had access to it? Number 7. Did any of the documents President Trump stole or showed to other individuals after your term in office relate to the U.S. government's war plans in the Middle East? And number 8. Did any foreign actors access or attempt to access these classified documents either in their paper form or when uploaded to staffers' computers? If so, which foreign actors? In addition, DOJ must cease cherry-picking investigative materials and produce all remaining investigative files, including memoranda, emails, and analyses prepared by the Special Counsel's Office by 5 p.m. on April 14, 2026. As a matter of priority, DOJ must produce the unredacted seating chart of the aircraft, the redacted version of which is enclosed with this letter, and the full unredacted January 13, 2023 memo at DOJ JSAF 031326 000085 to DOJ JSAF all the way to 00096, subject to all rules regarding grand jury secrecy. Thank you for your attention to these important oversight requests. I look forward to your prompt attention to this grave matter. Very truly yours, Jamie Raskin, Ranking Member, House Judiciary. This is the diagram of the aircraft manifest that he was referring to when he was asking about the passenger names that left from Palm Beach and went to LaGuardia. And as he wrote in this letter, apparently the final destination was the Bedminster, New Jersey golf course from June 2022. So this is what we have so far, and we have this thanks to the work of Jamie Raskin and his staff, as well as others on the Senate Judiciary Committee or House Judiciary Committee. And if Pam Bondi actually does what she's supposed to and responds to those questions, that should be done by this coming Tuesday at 5 p.m. as the deadline that he set has asked for. We'll see if they actually do that. Thanks.